Good afternoon. This webinar offers closed captioning. To enable closed captioning, click on the CC in the box located on the bottom of your screen. Click the arrow and select Show Subtitles. Welcome to the City of Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection webinar. We have adapted our regular business education workshops at City Hall into these webinars until further notice. Please note any website or email that I mentioned will be posted in the chat box. All BACP offices are open to the limited members of the public. Masks are required in all BACP facilities. For those seeking business license assistance, we strongly encourage the processing of licenses and permits online. Business licenses can be applied for or renewed online at chicagobusinessdirect.org, or you can call 312-74-GO-BIZ. If you are a part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, you can get credit for joining this webinar by sending an email to bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org. To learn more about this program, please visit chicago.gov/business education. This webinar is being recorded and will be available at youtube.com/Chicago BACP. We encourage all attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box and send your questions to all panelists. There will be a Q&A session at the end of this presentation. Today's webinar is entitled Doing Business at the Airport. At this time, I will now turn this webinar over to Glenn for us to begin.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending our first quarterly Concessions 101, doing business at the airport over here in Midway International Airports. We have the CDA concessions team that will take you through our agenda topics that are on the screen. And we are doing a lot at the airports. We have many RFPs that have gone out in the last year and many more that are forthcoming this year and next year. So we welcome you, and I'd like to turn it over to Castelia Serna, our Deputy Commissioner of Concessions.
Thank you, Glenn. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Mayor Lori Lightfoot, Commissioner Reed, and the entire team at the Chicago Department of Aviation, I'm excited to be welcoming you this afternoon to our Concessions 101 workshop webinar. I, again, am Castelia Serna, Deputy Commissioner of Concessions at CDA. At CDA, our concessions operations have had a tremendous partnership over the years, and that relationship will be even more instrumental looking into 2022. Chicago's airports have proven to be resilient, and we remain confident at the road ahead of us. Economic recovery and opportunities for our local small business community is what brings us here today. In response to COVID-19, we continue to be in coordination with our federal and local public health partners to keep our airports operational and safe. And it's an ongoing process. Passenger needs and expectations have changed as a result of the pandemic, and we have been listening and adapting. Through all of this, we remain a 24/7 operation and have provided uninterrupted concession offerings. We have implemented standard operating procedures for all concession operators to address cleanliness, social distancing, and face coverings. We further adopted contactless payments and will be bringing online new businesses through our recent RFP respondents to leverage mobile ordering, delivery, automated services, and micro mart offerings. This webinar is another step forward in preparing for the future. The future holds opportunity for businesses and vendors in attendance today. In many ways, our concessionaires, many of whom are small, local, and minority owned, are the backbone of our airport community, representing Chicago and employing tens of thousands of people. From Mayor Lori Lightfoot on down, we understand that our airports are economic engines and that we must invest in them, and that those investments are catalysts for opportunities that touch every one of Chicago's 77 neighborhoods. From our restaurants and shops right up to the gates, our airports create first and lasting impressions of our great city. We remain dedicated on bringing opportunities to our residents. We are committed to promoting equity and inclusion with our concession contracts by focusing on diversity. And we're working diligently to bring new ideas and new owners and operators into the fold. I want to let my team shine a little bit, so I'm going to leave it there. You'll be hearing from our rockstar concessions team, starting with our concession project administrators. Horatio Watson, Mark Wright, Russell Johnson, and Michael Stein. We also have with us, as mentioned, Glenn Reynuski, Assistant Commissioner of Concessions, and Yolanda Woodruff, Director of Retail Operations from Unison Consulting. They've put together an amazing presentation for you today. Thank you again for your interest in operating at O'Hare and Midway International Airports. And with that, I'll turn it over to Horatio. Thank you.
Thank you, Stein, and good afternoon, everyone. Today, I will be providing a brief overview of airline operations at O'Hare Airport. O'Hare is served by nearly 50 of the world's leading airlines and is a major intra-alliance connecting gateway. From the top left, we'll have United Airlines and their Star Alliance partners, American Airlines with One World, and Delta Airlines SkyTeam. O'Hare also has multiple non-aligned airlines, as you can see on the bottom. Fun fact for you today, O'Hare is a dual hub for United and American Airlines. In 2019, there were over 105 million passengers that traveled through O'Hare and Midway airports. Of that, approximately 84 million passengers traveled from or through O'Hare. Again, in 2019, there was a record-setting year for O'Hare Airport, achieving the most operations in the US with over 919,000 takeoffs and landings. That same year, Midway Airport had over 20 million passengers and over 232 takeoffs and landings. O'Hare and Midway International Airports provide direct and nonstop service to 275 cities around the world. Over 50% of O'Hare's passengers have connecting flights and never leave the terminals. What a captive audience. Here are a couple of fun facts for you today. O'Hare is the only US airport that has flights to 6 continents. O'Hare is the most connected airport in the US and second in the world. Here's the big picture. Let's take a look. Beginning in the top left, we have totally we have over 195 active gates. Beginning in the top left, Terminal 1, and in the lower left, we have Terminal 2. From there, Terminal 3, and Terminal 5 to the lower right. Let's look at each terminal in detail. Beginning with Terminal 1. Terminal 1 has 2 concourses, Concourse B and C. There are over 14.6 million enplanements in Terminal 1. Major carriers are Lufthansa and United Airlines. Let's move on over to Terminal 2. Terminal 2 have 2 concourses, E and F, where there are 6.7 million enplanements, with major carriers Air Canada, Delta, and United Express. Terminal 3. Terminal 3 has 4 concourses. From the lower right, we have Concourse G, H, K, and L. Terminal 3 has 17.4 million enplanements. Major carriers are Alaska, American, JetBlue, and Spirit Airlines. And lastly, Terminal 5. Terminal 5 has M Concourse and a wide variety of international air carriers flying to 6 of the 7 continents around the world, with over 3.4 million enplanements. Several carriers include Aer Lingus, Alitalia, Emirates, Etihad, Finnair, and Korean Air. Now I'd like to introduce to you Mike, who would like to talk to you about O'Hare Concessions Program. That will be Mark Wright.
Thank you, Horatio. Airport concessions at O'Hare and Midway airports are broken down into 6 categories. These categories include the food and beverage category, which entails branded and non-branded entities, and also includes local and national brands. The specialty retail category entails brands and concepts that supply things such as electronics or apparel and books. The third category, the news and gift category, includes entities for souvenirs and convenience items. The service category includes automated retail, ATMs, spa and lounge locations, and foreign currency exchange. The fifth category is the duty-free category, which entails brands that supply things such as perfumes, jewelry, and confections. And the last category is our advertising category, which entails indoor and outdoor advertising. This next slide is a concessions performance breakdown by category for all terminals of O'Hare. It lists the total number of stores per category, the total amount of square footage, and sales figures for 2019 and 2020. You can gauge how the impact of the pandemic affected sales for 2020, but we did see an increase in travel for the year of 2021, and we expect numbers to continue to increase in 2022. This next slide represents terminals 1, 2, and 3, and where each concession is located. If you take a look at the color-coded legend at the top left-hand corner, you can gauge where each concession by category is located in the terminal. One of the first things you may notice are the national brands such as McDonald's or Starbucks that, as you see, are located in just about every terminal. The next couple of slides, you will see some of the different brands and services here at O'Hare. This first one in Terminal 1, you see food and beverage locations and a specialty retail location with Johnston and Murphy. Terminal 2 here, you also see food and beverage locations, especially retail, and a news and gift location with the Hudson at the bottom right. And then Terminal 3 here, a few food and beverage locations, service location, and you can see some of the indoor and outdoor, the indoor advertising here in our food court, in the food court in Terminal 3. This next slide is Terminal 5, which was previously our international terminal, but has since added domestic flights from Southwest Airlines, Frontier, and starting in the fall, Delta will start flying out as well. And for that reason, we removed the designation of the international terminal to Terminal 5. You can see the code of color legend up in the top right-hand portion of the page where you can gauge where each concession by category is located. The center shows the arrival level of T5 concessions, and on the left at the bottom is the departure level of concessions. The next slide is shows a couple of slides of T5. The first one being the checkpoint area, which was just newly renovated and now has a slightly different configuration and also more lanes. And then on the right, you see our duty-free location. Next slide shows our food court and other beverage locations, which you'll see in these slides, and the next couple of slides here with Hub 51 being in our food court as well. And with that being said, I'll pass it on to our project administrator, Russell Johnson, who will talk a little bit about O'Hare 21.
Thank you, Mark. O'Hare 21, which stands for O'Hare 21st Century, marked the end of the O'Hare Modernization Program, which was a 16-year project to reconfigure O'Hare's airfield, which will reduce delays and increase capacity. We now have 6 parallel runways, 3 on both sides of O'Hara's main terminal. O'Hare 21 is the biggest expansion of O'Hare in 60 years. We'll increase gate capacity from 195 to 220. We'll reduce security wait times, improve security and sorting of passenger baggage, and reduce airfield congestion. What you're looking at right now is our multimodal facility. Multimodal facility was completed in November 2018. It houses our airport rent-a-car operation and adds an additional 2,600 parking spaces, economy parking spaces for passengers and rent-a-car personnel. One thing you will notice about our multimodal facility is that there is space for concession. There's currently an RFP on the street which allows for a convenient concession. If you're interested in that convenient concession, we have a pre-proposal meeting on Tuesday, February 22nd at 10 a.m. To register for that meeting, you must go to our RFP data room, which is flychicago.com/RFP 2022. All registrations must be completed by February 21st at 5 p.m. if you'd like to participate in our pre-proposal meeting. If you have questions about the RFP, they must be submitted in writing no later than Tuesday, March 1st at 5 p.m. at ordmmf2022@cityofchicago.org. All submissions and proposals must be due no later than Thursday, April 21st, 2022 at 4 p.m. here at our O'Hare Administrative Office. Let's talk about O'Hare 21 and what phases are currently being acted and what phases have been completed. If you start on your right, we are 65% complete with our Terminal 5 expansion, which I'll go into detail shortly. In the middle, we have our L Concourse expansion, which is part of Terminal 3, with our L Stinger. Our L Stinger currently has 4 gates complete, with several more gates in design for construction currently. Next up in our 2023-2025 timeframe are Satellite 1 and Satellite 2. Satellite 1 and 2 are being built so that we may build our O'Hare Global Terminal in 2025. It will replace the current Terminal 2 at O'Hare Airport. What you see in front of you is the design for the new Global Terminal, which will replace Terminal 2 currently. One thing you'll notice about our new Global Terminal in its design is designed to impact and show off Chicago. The design is made to show the flow of the Chicago River. It'll include features that highlight our 77 neighborhoods, our city streets, and our city amenities. Let's jump into O'Hare 2021 and what it does to our current Terminal 5. Terminal 5 will increase, and it started in March 2019. So at a $1.2 billion investment. It will increase the capacity of the terminal by 350,000 square feet. We will renovate another 750,000 square feet for the new home for Delta Airlines. We'll increase our air lounge space by 70% and increase our concession spaces by 75%. In later phases of Terminal 5 expansion, we'll be adding a new parking garage and a new hotel. What you see in front of you now is the 10-gate expansion on the east wing of Terminal 5, which currently has RFP out or been evaluated for multiple concessions, new amenities, better gates, and other activities to increase passenger experience at O'Hare Airport. The next slide also shows part of the Terminal 5 expansion on the east wing. It does not show the Delta new home, which will take place this fall on the west part of the terminal. But what you can see are the new amenities, larger gates, open air feeling, enhanced creative and natural light, more ergonomic and comfortable seating, and increased and enlarged hold rooms, larger concourse spaces, and new concessions locations. Now I'll turn the presentation over to Horatio Watson to talk about some of the expansions going on at Midway Airport.
Thank you so very much, Russia. I appreciate that. Today we'll continue talking about Midway International Airport. Midway International Airport is a leading airport for point-to-point air service in the United States. Prior to COVID-19, Midway served approximately 21.8 million passengers with 6 carriers to 79 destinations. Total air carriers have remained stable while destinations served have increased. In second quarter 2021, Midway had direct flights to 72 US destinations and 10 international destinations. Southwest Airlines represents over 90% of operations at Midway. As of July 2021, monthly TSA checkpoint traffic has reached 90% of comparable prior year numbers. The airlines currently at Midway are Southwest, Delta, Volaris, North Country Sky, Allegiant, and Porter Airlines. Midway International Airport Modernization Program. Over $333 million in terminal investments. Concessions redevelopment program will double permanent employment opportunities up to 1,400. Airport concessions disadvantaged business enterprise up to 56%. Passenger security checkpoint expansion, 2,800 construction jobs to date, of which 22% were minority-owned and 11% were women-owned. The terminal parking garage enhancements, 3,496 construction jobs to date, of which 26% were minority-owned and 6% were women-owned. Next, we'll continue talking about the concessions program at Midway Airport. Midway Airport, of course, is a world-class concession program will feature iconic Chicago establishments and brands, as well as nationally recognized products and services. 2019 concessions performance by category. The chart shows the 2019 concessions broken down by category: food and beverage, up 75% of sales, retail 24% of sales, and services 1% of sales. Midway concession development programs by unit. Prior to COVID, the concessions redevelopment constructed 30 new concession units, 22 food and beverage, 7 retail, and 1 service location. Here's some examples of what the current build out looks like. Sarah's Candy, Harry Carey's, Hudson's Just Walk Out, Hubbard Inn, Nuts on Clark, and a brand new food court. Opportunities with Midway partnership. This chart shows the different aspects of the contracts that are outsourced: design and construction work, suppliers, services. If you would like to see if there are any opportunities to partner with the Master Concessionaire Midway Partnership, please visit their website at midwaypartnership.com. Now, I'd like to introduce to you Michael Stein, who'd like to talk to you about the process to operate a concession.
Thanks, Horatio. I'm Michael Stein, and I'm project administrator for CDA, and I'll explain to you the process to operate a concession at the airport. Companies have several ways to operate as a concessionaire. Option 1, you can operate as a single operator. That is where you lease space directly from the airport. Option 2 is called a joint venture. This is where a company forms a partnership with another company to lease and operate a concession. And option 3 is where you operate as a subtenant. This is where your company leases from a larger concessionaire and operates as its subtenant. Next, you need to determine how you would operate. Option 1, you can operate as a franchisee with companies like McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts. Option 2, you can enter into a license agreement with brands like Harry Carey's or The Publican. Option 3, you can operate as a regional or local company where you're bringing a neighborhood favorite like Nuts on Clark or Berghoff here to the airports. And finally, option 4 is where you operate as your own unique airport concept that only exists at the airports, like Ice Bar or Cubs Bar and Grill. This next slide identifies the steps it takes to become a concessionaire. First, CDA identifies the location available for lease. Next, CDA will issue a request for proposal, or also known as an RFP. Then respondents will prepare and properly submit their proposals. CDA will evaluate the responses and select a concessionaire. Then the selected concessionaire and CDA will finalize the lease agreement. CDA then must seek approval from City Council. Once approved, the concessionaire will submit construction plans for review and approval by CDA. When it's approved, the concessionaire can start construction, finish construction, and open for business at the airport. The goals of our concession programs are to optimize revenues at the airports and within the local economy. Maximize Acdbe participation. Provide opportunities for local brands and local operators. Provide high-quality products and services. Promote high-quality facility designs and also promote environmental sustainability. Increase the variety of offerings at the airport. Showcase the character of Chicago to the traveling public. And provide first-class customer service while providing fair pricing to the traveling public and employees working at both airports. Last slide. When operating the airports, there are a few things you need to consider. You need to determine your hours of operation. You must be prepared to properly follow all the badging and security requirements at the airport. You need to determine how your employees will be getting to work so you can have a stable workforce. Will they be using public transportation or will they be paying for airport employee parking? And finally, you need to think through your logistics so you have the most efficient way to have your goods delivered and stored and how to have your waste and recyclables removed as effectively as possible. Next, I'm going to hand it over to Yolanda.
Thank you, Mike. As Castalia mentioned, I'm Yolanda Woodruff with Unison Consulting, and today I will bring you elements of a proposal. So as you can see here, a request for proposal can be very detailed, as you can see from this extensive list of proposal elements. Now, the cover letter should identify the RFP to which you are submitting a proposal. The experience and qualifications should tell the story as to why you are qualified to operate a concession at O'Hare or Midway, espousing your expertise in the area in which you are proposing. Now, the selection committee will pay close attention to the management plan, the development plan, your Acdbe participation plan, take note of your references, your business information, and financial statements when evaluating your submitted proposal. The selection committee wants to be sure that the proposed concession entrant has the wherewithal to operate in the high volume, fast-paced airport environment. Now, exceptions, as you see here on the list, number 7, exceptions relate to specific items in the license agreement that you request be changed, rephrased, or omitted. Next slide. So the selection committee will also evaluate if the potential concession entrant meets the minimum qualifications. Now, mostly at minimum, the potential concession entrant must have a specific number of years of experience operating the concept type in which they are proposing to operate at the airport, within a specific amount of, with a specific amount of average sales receipts during that specified period. Now, this information is also used to gauge the potential concession entrant's ability to meet the capital improvement costs associated with operating a concession in an airport environment. And of course, the selection committee will also look closely at the Acdbe plan to ensure that CFR 49, Part 23 goal requirements are also being met. The Acdbe goal will be stated in the RFP and is required to be met in full or by demonstrating good faith efforts that the goal could not be met. So this is an example of compensation to the city. Now, keep in mind that bids are not awarded to the highest bidder, and these fees are more than likely stated in the RFP, either as a range or as a set amount. The base rent rate per square foot will escalate at 3% each year. For example, if the base rent in 2021 is $50 per square foot, then the base rent in 2022 will be $50 plus $1.50 equal to $51.50 for base rent for 2022. The license fee is the greater of the percentage fee or the minimum annual guarantee fee. We will see an example of this in a later slide. Also, you see here, the marketing fee is 0.5% of gross sales. And the central distribution fee will be determined based on facility costs, but will generally be between 1% and 2% of gross sales. At this time, there is no distribution center at O'Hare, but it is under consideration. Here are the basic terms and fees associated with the multiple types of concepts that one can operate at the airport. The terms are specific to allow for the amortization of the build-out costs over the estimated useful life of other improvements installed at build-out. As you see here, there is a range for the proposed percentage rent. But remember, the contract is not awarded to the highest bidder. Here are some basic terms and fees associated with the concept categories. Now, once again, the terms are specific to allow for amortization of the build-out costs and over the estimated useful life of other improvements installed at build-out. Keep in mind, there is a range for the proposed percentage rent. The contract will not be awarded to the highest bidder. Please always keep that in mind. Here is another example of the minimum annual guarantee fee, which is another set of the licensing fee. So the MAG is usually set in the RFP and the percentage fee is usually stated as a range, as we saw in previous examples. Now, when making the decision on how much of your revenue you are willing to share with the city, you must consider that if you make $0, you must still pay the minimum annual guarantee fee and not the lesser of the percentage fee and the MAG, but the minimum annual guarantee fee. Take, for instance, this example. If the percentage fee is less than the MAG is due as payment. If you exceed the MAG, then the greater amount is due as payment. So for example, if your annual sales are at $800,000 and your percent rent is at 15%, but your MAG is at $100,000. When you multiply your annual sales by your percent rent of 15%, it's at $120,000 due for the year. the concessionaire pays the $120,000. However, if you only have $500,000 in sales at a 15% percentage fee, that is $75,000 per year. However, the concessionaire must pay the $100,000 minimum annual guarantee fee. Other considerations when considering compensation for the operation of a concession at the airport include leasehold taxes, individually metered utilities, a security deposit, which will be equal to around 6 months of your minimum annual guarantee fee, and build-out costs, which can be upwards of $1,000 per square foot of leased space. The airports have developed a strict value pricing strategy. So this ensures that pricing at the airports will not exceed the average prices charged in downtown Chicago. The airports have also developed a strict sustainability strategy that each concession operator must adopt and include in their day-to-day operations. Green initiatives include the reduction in the use of plastics and styrofoam, with those plastics and styrofoam products being replaced by green compostable items to ensure a healthy experience for the passenger, for employees, and for the environment. Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Participation Plan. Now, a firm is considered to be an Acdbe firm if it meets the criteria of being 51% owned and managed by a socially and economically disadvantaged individual. The Acdbe goal is set in the RFP. An Acdbe plan must be included with the proposal, and the Acdbe certified firm must be certified at the time of the proposal submittal, or the proposal will be marked non-responsive if good faith efforts have not been demonstrated to achieve the Acdbe goal set in the RFP. So the airport concessions program is subject to federal regulations. The Acdbe goal is established for each proposal, and the goal may be fulfilled by a concessionaire through several ways, through direct ownership, joint venture partnership, or subtenant or subcontracts with Acdbes, or the purchase of goods and services from Acdbes. And remember, the proposal will be deemed non-responsive because the Acdbe section of the proposal is pass or fail. The respondent must either satisfy the goal as stated in the RFP or must show good faith efforts as to why the goal cannot be satisfied. For more information on how to become certified, please be sure to visit the City of Chicago Department of Procurement Services website or the Illinois Department of Transportation's website using these links. The Department of Procurement Services, or is it BACP? But there is a quarterly workshop on how to become certified. So please check with Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, as well as the Department of Procurement Services. Now, here's some key information. For notifications regarding upcoming RFPs, please be sure to sign up for the CDA web alerts, and you will be among the first businesses to learn of the RFP release. Proposals are typically due within 90 days after the proposal release. But be sure to sign up for the CDA web alerts because this time period can be variable. So please stay aware of the due date and time as changes may occur. A pre-proposal meeting will usually take place shortly after the RFP is posted. Be sure to attend this meeting, which will provide additional information that may not be stated in the proposal documents. The pre-proposal meeting may also allow for tours of the proposed spaces. As Russell Johnson mentioned, there is a pre-proposal meeting for the multimodal facility RFP that was recently released. That date is February 22nd. Please be sure to register for that, and proposals are due proposals are due in April 21st. And so thank you for that, Russell. So make sure that you guys sign up for the web alerts just in case there are additional dates and times that you need to keep track of. The RFP will also specify the deadline for the submission of questions, which I believe is March. In March, Russell is getting that data for me. So that you can submit your questions in writing. All of them must be submitted in writing, and the answers will be provided in an addendum to the RFP. And so those questions to this multimodal facility concession opportunity will be due Tuesday, March 1st, no later than 5 p.m. Central Time. And next, we'll learn about more resources that are available to you. So these could be helpful as it pertains to opening a concession at O'Hare or Midway Airport. And the Chicago Department of Aviation link is a must. So use that link because there is a lot of valuable data there on how to do business with Chicago O'Hare and Midway airports. It also has vital information about flights, terminal maps, bids, and contracts, as well as our Eat, Shop, and More page, which features our concessions program. Also, don't forget to sign up for the web alerts, which will be via email on new information such as bid packages, advertisements, pre-conferences, upcoming workshops, and symposiums, as well as more information on O'Hare 21. Thank you so much for joining us today. On behalf of Commissioner Rhee and Mayor Lori Lightfoot, we welcome you to participate in our concessions program at both O'Hare and Midway International Airports. And at this time, we will take questions from the audience. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, we have a few questions.
Remember, you're both in the chat and Q&A. What?
They want you to provide them with the URL for the RFP and the dates.
All right, to register for the RFP, you need to go to flychicago.com/RFP 2022. And everything you need will be in the data room for the RFP.
Can you give some examples of subcontracted or joint ventured certified businesses?
Absolutely. Some of our joint venture partners and subtenants, as you saw in the presentation, we have a Sarah's Candies location, and she is Sarah Levy, Sarah Iberman, and she actually has her locations through a partnership with Hudson News and Gift, where she operates that location under the Hudson lease agreement. So that is an example of a subcontract. A joint venture partner is an example, let's see, O'Brien's Restaurant has a joint venture partnership with Signature Affairs. Signature Affairs provides the marketing,
the training for each employee, also other items that involve the day-to-day operation at that particular location. So there are several ways that you can contract with a larger concessionaire to either become a subtenant or a joint venture partner providing a service. We also have an example of a joint venture partner who is supplying goods. And so this joint venture partner actually supplies all of the compostable paper goods for a concessionaire, the foodstuffs for a concessionaire as well. So that is another way that you can partner as an ACDBE subcontractor or joint venture partner.
Do you have to have a food license if you have a vending machine with non-perishable items?
There is a specific type of automated vending machine business license that you must acquire in order to have your vending machine at O'Hare or Midway International Airports. So there is a pre-packaged food license that is related to that type of vending.
Where can I find the application?
The application for, please specify.
Okay. They'll probably send something back.
Okay.
For a private small business, do we have to go through this process to see if we qualify?
Absolutely.
She's doing fast food.
Absolutely. So the one thing that we want to make sure of for all of our concessionaires is that they have the wherewithal to be able to participate in the high volume, fast-paced airport environment. And so we do need demonstrable evidence of a concessionaire's ability to do just that.
Yeah.
I received my, man, they throwing me, okay, because the questions are jumping in and it's
Yes.
made me lose it.
Yes, it's Mr. Kadir. Hello, Mr. Kadir. Yes, congratulations on your ACDBE certification for the baggage wrap machines. I believe that there may be an opportunity with the luggage cart provider to possibly partner with the luggage cart provider to be able to provide those baggage wrap services along with the luggage cart operator. So we can probably talk more about next steps off the record.
Let's see. Can you explain more about the subtenant lease?
Sure. So generally what happens is a smaller company partners with one of the larger concession companies and form a partnership, which becomes a subtenant relationship. That subtenant would actually be responsible for running their own location. They would be responsible for their own staff. They would be responsible for their products. They would pretty much be the operator of that subtenant location.
Let's see.
To Stella, if I could add that The subtenant more than likely will pay their fees directly to that concessionaire, that larger concessionaire. They would not pay their fees directly to the airport. So in that case, there may actually be the need for that concessionaire to charge that subtenant an administrative fee for passing, for actually allowing that subtenant to operate under their agreement, if that makes sense.
Who should I contact if the business category is not listed on the website?
The business category not listed on the website. I don't understand.
I think if they're looking for a particular business and they don't see it on the website, that's what I'm guessing that question is.
Okay, so yeah, if the business doesn't fall into one of those categories, I'm unsure as to what that business might be, because it would have to be either a food and beverage or a retail or a service of sorts. So I don't know what that could be. I thought we had covered pretty much just about any category that might come to an airport environment.
Okay, I'm in the Q&A box now. I have one question. What about vending machines?
So what about vending machines? That is a really good question. We just recently, we had released an RFP for automated vending, automated retail, and those who won the bids are actually in the airport now. So we have several different types of offerings through that automated retail opportunity. We had the option for a healthy snack, healthy drink. We had electronics. We've got someone who's doing massages. We've got someone who's doing a quiet room of sorts. So we have so many vending tenants that have joined the concessions program just over the past 4 months. So we're really excited about that. So it's possible that there might be another offering, another RFP for additional automated retail, but at this point I am unsure. So please make sure you sign up for the CDA web alerts so that you can be among one of the first businesses to hear about the RFP as it is released.
To serve alcohol, do you need a special liquor license?
You need a liquor license, not necessarily a special liquor license.
What happens to subtenants? What happens if the subtenant does not meet the agreement? Is the sublease under the subcontractor's business lease default? How does this affect the subtenant?
Oh boy, so the subtenant is adjoined with that master lease. And so if that master lease is discontinued, that subtenant lease is also discontinued.
What if I want to install electronic massaging chairs in different parts of the airports and terminals? What is the process?
So you would have to wait for that RFP to be released for, that might actually fall under automated retail because you would not have a, or you might have a person, I don't know, who is there directing people to your chairs. Generally, we don't allow that because we have our hold room seating areas, and it's very specific how we handle the hold room areas. So I am unsure if such a concession would be allowed, because you would need really to have an attendant on duty to make sure that those chairs are operating, that they're clean. You would need some serious attention to that type of concession here. And I'm unsure if that's something that's on our docket or something we're looking at. But that's a really good question.
We have futures opportunities for SPA coming up in future RFPs, so just register for the web alerts and you should be able to find out about those opportunities when the RFPs are produced.
Thank you, Russell. And with that being said, it might be possible if there is a table massage that your chairs might be welcome in a spa environment. That's a really good point. Thank you, Russell.
Is there a meet and greet opportunity for those already certified to operate at the airports? This will allow for great networking ability and to explore subleasing joint ventures.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of resources for someone to take advantage of networking opportunities, one of which is coming up. We have the Airport Minority Advisory Council Conference. I believe it's 37th annual conference, and it will be held right here in Chicago, June 20th through the 24th, I believe are the dates. You can check on the AMAC website. It is in the resources section. Let's see, that is amac-org.com. www.amac-org.com. Airport Minority Advisory Council, AMAC.org. Yeah, www.amac-org.com.
Let's see. Someone said, what about a hair salon in the airport? Is that possible?
Right now, there's no current RFP out for a hair salon at the airport, but I would definitely keep an eye open, sign up for CDA web alerts so that you can be notified when the RFP is released.
I'm seeing a lot of, I cannot find the application online. Please help.
There is no application for concession. There is the actual RFP, which is in the data room. Right now, that is for the multimodal facility. And so it can be found at flychicago.com/RFP 2022. And that is the data room for the multimodal facility RFP that is currently out on the streets.
And I believe this looks like the last question. Where is the CDA office? Is it at the airport or at City Hall?
So our Aviation Administration building is located at 11510 West Zemke Road, which is pretty much on airport property at O'Hare. Close to Mannheim and Higgins Road.
Oh, wait, got two more questions. What if you are wanting to market your brand to an existing food concession stand?
Okay, so yeah, Melissa, you can actually visit our flychicago.com website and go to our Eat, Shop, Dine and More page. There's a listing of our concessionaires along with their contact information, and you can feel free to contact those concessionaires if you're interested in marketing your food brand to, and go from there.
Can someone who is in another state participate in owning a concession at one of the airports?
Absolutely. So we do have many concessionaires that are operating at both O'Hare and Midway International Airports that are not local. However, if they are ACDBE certified, they are certified with the city of Chicago. So in order to qualify to be certified in the city of Chicago, you must first be certified in your home state. So for instance, if you are a concessionaire in Indiana and you wish to be ACDBE certified, if that's the route that you want to go, you must first be certified ACDBE in the state of Indiana and then apply for certification in the city of Chicago. Now, if you are a prime operator, meaning that you are not a disadvantaged business or you are not a small business, but you're a larger business, we have many of those that are not local. They actually operate nationwide and they can be headquartered in many different states. Yes, so I see another question. Thank you so much for that. If we are ACDBE certified, can I use that to highlight when marketing to current restaurants? No, you do not need to submit a bid through the opportunity if you're going directly, because you would be negotiating directly with that currently operating concessionaire. Only if you are looking to either partner with a prime who's looking to bid and they need your ACDBE certification to meet their goal, would you have to submit the bid along with that prime at that time. But if you're looking to just market your goods or your services to a currently operating concessionaire, you do not need to go through the bid process. So I see another question, repeat how to find a list of current operating concessionaires' contact information. That's at the flychicago.com website under Eat, Shop, Dine, and More. That's a listing of our currently operating concessionaires. The minimum, okay, there's another one. Good question. What's the minimum pricing to get started? To operate here at the airport, the process to create your bid for submittal could be anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000. To get started with your actual build out of your location, you would expect about $1,000 per square foot. So if you have a 100 square foot space, it will cost you about $100,000 to get that space built. And then you also have to think about the other considerations, such as your letter of credit, which could be 50% of your minimum annual guarantee fee. You have to think about your minimum annual guarantee fee, your percentage rents that are due, your base rent for occupying that 100 square feet, the placement of your separately metered utilities. You also have to think about any leasehold taxes that you will be owing annually. So there are many considerations when you talk about minimum pricing to get started. Okay, so I see a question here that says, what is the process if you are ACDBE certified in another state? So what you would do is contact the Department of Procurement Services here in the city of Chicago and provide them with the electronic application along with your total certification package from your home state. I hope that answers your question. I see another question that says, repeat how to find the list of current operating concessionaires. That is flychicago.com. Click on the Eat, Shop, Dine, and More, and it will take you to the concessions page. So I see another, are we required to have a business license for Chicago if marketing directly to your current concession vendors? Absolutely. So you must have a local business license in order to partner with the currently operating concessionaire, because you would then be doing business in the city of Chicago under that lease agreement, and those locations have business licenses under the city, with the city of Chicago. I see another question. Are there sample budgets we can use to assist in planning our potential expenses when entertaining this opportunity? Well, there are no real sample budgets. However, in the RFP, there are rates and fees that will be in a range. So it would be best for you to start at what you think your projected sales will be in that area. And usually in the RFP, if we are soliciting a concept that is currently operating or that has operated in that location previously, we will give you the average sales that were garnered in that location. So that'll give you a really good idea as to how much revenue you can expect to earn in that particular location. At that time, you can kind of back into your fees. There will be a range for your minimum annual guarantee fee, or it will be a set minimum annual guarantee fee. Also, the percentage fee will either be a range or a set percentage fee. And once again, that base rent will be a dollar amount for the square footage on an annual basis, payable in 12 monthly installments. So there are many ways that you can back into that. Unfortunately, we don't have a budget, but it would be wise, a budget template, but it would be wise to seek the advice of an accountant, of an architect, and of a designer when you are putting together your proposal. Okay, so I see another question. Is there any City of Chicago or state grants for startup at Midway Airport? That's a really good question. We, for the City of Chicago Department of Aviation, do not host any grants at this time. However, that's not to say that the Small Business Association or other entities they may have some type of grant program for you. So how does that work for startup businesses? Are there minimums? So there are minimum requirements for you to have operated your concept type for at least 3 years, with a minimum amount of receipts over the average of those 3 years. So there is a requirement of minimum qualifications in order to bid a loan. However, if you want to bid with someone who is currently operating or someone who's interested in operating and has more experience, it might be a good opportunity to come in as a partner under that concessionaire. Do we need prior marketing? Prior to marketing? I'm sorry, go back up.
I'm trying to.
Okay. So there's another question. Okay, do we need it prior to marketing? The business license, absolutely not. And you're saying how much are the business licenses for City of Chicago? You can check with Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. I believe the general cost right now is $660 for a business license. However, I would definitely check with Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, the City of Chicago's office. And then, do airports have vacant quick serve restaurant spaces available for new vendor? Those types of spaces will be in an RFP offering. So there is nothing really like a shopping center here at O'Hare or at Midway airports where, oh, there's a space that's vacant, I want that space. I'm gonna call and ask them if I can have it. It is always an open bid process available to everyone publicly. And it is not offered up to someone who simply says, I am interested in the space. However, I know there were some opportunities that were talked about for possible pop-up restaurants. However, there's been nothing that's been announced as of yet. So as soon as that does come up, though, I'm sure it will be announced in the CDA web alert. So sign up for the CDA web alerts, please, so you can find out more if indeed there will be a pop-up type.
It costs something
Yeah.
to register. You're planting the seed and you never know what's around the corner in a couple months or even for a year from now.
That's right. Michael Stein just made a really good point. Sign up for the CDA web alerts because you never know what types of information you might get from those alerts. So I see another question. These are some really good questions, guys. Thank you so much for your true engagement. So SBA.gov has templates for financial budgets to help for 1 year to 3 to 5 year projections. Thank you so much, Jean Turner, for providing that information. I see Lucretia has a question. Can you share a concession space with another business, or does the contract have to be under one business entity? Now, Lucretia, that is something very comparable to a joint venture agreement. And so I would say, yes, it is possible for you to share your space. It is possible for you to be a supplier with the currently operating concessionaire as well. So there are many options for that. Okay, we answered Melissa's question about, so would I need a business license and how much is a business license? Okay, so I think we answered that question. Does the airport cleaning contract cover the cleaning of the stores, or is that separate? You know what, it all depends on the concessionaires. The concessionaires have the opportunity to contract with a cleaning company, but the airport hold room cleaning company, the other common area cleaning company is not contracted to clean the concession spaces. Those are absolutely separate. Where can I start first? Should I register? Have no idea where I can start first. There is no application form. That is right. There is no application form. What you have to look for is the RFP data room, which will be at flychicago.com/RFP 2022. Any forms that you need to put together your proposal will be located in the data room.
Registering to receive web alerts is just like your name and your email address. It's so
right. There's no real
basic
application.
Yeah.
Michael, you make a really good point. There's no real application. You can sign up for the CDA web alerts to get more information as it becomes available about contracting opportunities in our concessions program. So also another question under GSA.gov, schedule for contractors and subcontractors under Barack's administration. So team agreement, if contractor defaults, the subcontractors with an oversight committee. If the main contractor defaults, the subcontractor is not penalized. I believe that you might be speaking of possibly construction contractors and not necessarily concessions contracts. So thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much. In addition to the individual business insurance, does the airport have insurance coverage for the businesses that it houses? Actually, no, the insurance is provided for common area spaces by the airport. However, the concessionaire needs to provide insurance coverage for their business and for their space and for their goods within the space. Okay, so Jean, you're saying for vendors, subcontractor vendors, if we have a lease with a specific tenant and that tenant no longer holds the lease, that subcontractor is no longer under a lease, or that subtenant is no longer under a lease, and there is no legal recourse to allow them to continue to operate without a lease agreement. A subcontractor can obtain a lease. That's a really good question, but it would be through the open bid process. They would have to bid for that particular space again. Everyone has to do it. That is how the open bid process works for concessions at O'Hare and Midway International Airports. Absolutely, or bid again, or yes. So the question is, they have to go out of business and start over. Yes, we have many concessionaires that their spaces have gone out for bid and they've had to rebid those spaces. Now, as a subcontractor, like I say, or a subtenant, if that lease, that main lease agreement goes away, that subtenant no longer has an agreement. And two, it's up to that prime operator if they want to continue to operate alongside that concessionaire as their subtenant or as a subcontractor. Yeah, that's the beauty of an open bid process. That way everyone has the opportunity to participate.
There was a slide.
So you're asking, what is the typical lease term on concession leases? Generally, for a food and beverage concessionaire, the term on that would be anywhere between 7 to 10 years. For a retail concessionaire, it would be anywhere between 5 to 7 years. And the reason for the difference is with a food and beverage operator, you need fixtures, furniture, equipment that costs much more than a clothes rack, a shelving unit, and other things that retailers may use. And so what we've done is we've made the term of the lease applicable to allow for the amortization of the cost for build out for those types of locations. All right, so it looks like there are no more questions. Stella, I want to thank you so much for allowing us to present, and everyone who stayed behind to ask these insightful questions, because I'm sure a lot of people had some of the same questions that were asked. And so it really adds value when it is interactive and allows for a lot of these questions to be answered. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And you can watch this webinar again on our Chicago BACP YouTube page, either tomorrow or at the earliest on, either tomorrow or Friday. To find out about our upcoming webinars, please visit chicago.gov/business education. All right, thank you again.